Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Through the Uprights, episode 3.1. Since, we got through a bit of 3, but it was kind of scuffed, we'll just go with it. Hope you guys are all having a marvelous Monday. I moved to a new dorm, as you can probably tell by the background. I know that dorms look pretty similar, but, no posters back there. And I'm alone in the room on Mondays, so, we're chilling. We're hard chilling. So, yeah, we're gonna hop into it in a bit. Just really quickly, thank you so much to Mr. Dome for the tier 1 subscription. 2-month streak, 3-month total. Appreciate it, my man. Thank you for stopping by. And, yeah, let's just hop right into it, ladies and gentlemen, because we got a good amount to discuss. We have missed, basically a whole week. I'm gonna run through the transactions as we usually do. And
dude, there's no
Dome!
way. This
okay,
guy's,
well,
like,
I mean,
actually
that went to
He's
Hostilius
actually
Flow.
cheating.
I
How the hell
don't
did
think
he do that?
Hostilius Flow has been alive for quite a bit, but thank you. I have a Dome, my man, for gifting the sub regardless. Now at 2 gifted subs. Appreciate it, my man. All love going out to you. Hearts in the chat? Yes, sir. Okay. Well, quickly, going into things. I guess we'll go really quickly just through, the transactions from last week, because there are a couple, but there's some pretty juicy ones from this week that we definitely need to get into. But just sliding through everything from the 22nd to, 22nd to, the 29th. Of course, Iron Phoenix signing Itachi. Obviously, there's been some not so good games that have happened with Iron Phoenix since then, but, still going through everything as Iron Phoenix kind of went over a whole entire rebuildish thing where they brought back Duty. They parted ways with Clifton Harler, who is currently in an entire villain arc on Shinigami, which is pretty cool. In the 140, yeah, this webcam is not that good. I wanna find a way to connect the webcam that I used to have, but I'm on my laptop right now, which actually runs better than my PC. So it's oh, thank you, I have a Dome for Aidan the Goat. Thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, Iron Phoenix. They also bring back a veteran in Goose, which is pretty crazy, and they released Nyx. So a ton of stuff happening with them, and that's not even all of it. But I just want to go through, just the first week. Let's see. Chief Queef came in for Alien, which was actually a bigger pickup. I didn't emphasize it enough, probably because I was on the stream for 5 minutes last week. But Chief Queef. Jeez, as a pickup was actually huge. I know he got 451 yards in the game against IP, which was absolutely insane, unless I'm thinking of someone else, but I'm pretty sure it was Chief Queef. I mean, this was pretty much old news, but Sparks going from Kingsman to K9 again. Nico going on to False Idols. He came out of seemingly nowhere. Iron Phoenix also released Good, Bad, Ugly. Completely forgot about that. Pride then signed to Mystify, which ultimately led... I mean, not really led, but I'm sure it was part of the catalyst that led to the whole entire thing with Rogue Warriors, which we'll talk about in a bit. Blizzard releasing Juju, who I haven't seen talk in a million years, so he's probably dead right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we also saw a new team come in, the Swarm, and hopefully we'll get to see more from them. I really want to watch one of their scrims. I don't think any of their scrims have been streamed, so I haven't actually been able to watch them play. But excited to see when that does happen. So going into this week's transactions, because there is a lot of them. First off, talking about Dome's team, Blizzard picking up a big pickup in Deion Sandals. Deion Sandals, I think, will be kind of an immediate impact guy. I don't know how much he's going to end up playing, and we still do have to wait on his free agency, or the, waiver thing. Whatever it's called. I can't think of it right now. But apparently there was this whole beef with Kingsman, or situation, but we don't usually talk about, we kind of avoid talking about said situations on the cast. Really just strictly how it will affect them in-game. And in terms of how Blizzard are looking, obviously they're a playoff team. But, they need something extra if they're going to want to, bust into that top 5 and beat those top 5 teams. And I think they have the core, and maybe Deion Sandals can be that man who pushes them all the way. And we'll see. We'll see, and I'm excited what we see for Blizzards, because, only love the Blizzard. Iron Phoenix ended up picking up Aslu Chinzi, who left Sentinels. I'm not sure where he's gonna find. He might find some playing time. But with their core that they have right now, I'm not like 100% sure. Sentinels ended up kind of picking up Nick, so it's like a bit of a long-term trade there. Or I'm not even sure if is Nick still there. Yeah, Nick is still there. Yeah, Royals actually picked up not Braxton, Braxton, who I haven't seen him talk since then, but you know, whatever. There was this whole thing with Goofy too. I know that they were gonna do like something on Hot Takes about it. Goofy like joined Swarm and then left. I think he's still like in free agency right now, but he came back for a bit and he was there. Goon Squad also signed Dude. I think he was a former Goon Squad member. I think I've seen him in like one pub since then, but I don't really know. Dragoons losing Baus, who you know, I can definitely speak to as a Dragoons member. He was definitely a great all-around player, especially in scrims. Unfortunately, didn't see a ton of playing time, but I mean, he's a GOAT lineman, he's a GOAT running back, he's a GOAT anywhere. Just put him anywhere, and you know, he'll certainly do some stuff. He is on Shinigami now, so I'm not sure how many times he is going to be put into the game. But honestly, wish him only the best. And Goon Squad also getting the law onto the active roster. That's a thing that happened. And then Bama Nick with that big announcement that after going 0-6, I am releasing blah, blah, blah. We are not disbanding as of right now, you trolls. And then, of course, they went on to disband. Because, you know, reasons. So they reformed as Rogue Warriors, for all of you guys who do not know. And basically, their roster is Demi at QB. So basically, this is like kind of a Demigorgons kind of thing with Demi. Because Demi QB'd there. And like, I think he definitely has a few guys who've been floating around there. Has Charlemagne, B-Grip at line. So, you know, a lot of Pride guys. But also with JB Knuckles as a captain, coming in with that whole Rogue Warriors aspect. Because obviously JBK, great guy. Love him so much. And, you know, he was a big player over there at Rogue Warriors. So in terms of how they're going to do now, because they've taken over Pride Spot. They've taken over Pride Spot in the GFA. That's basically how that whole thing's going to go. In terms of how they're going to shape up, it's going to be interesting. They do have a wide receiver core of Cuzzy, Panda, Uncle Socom, and Smitty. And their lines like JBK. They actually have Bobby, B-Grip, Charlemagne, and Pastrami. I'm not like 100% sure how it's going to work out. But I think they can make their way out of the bottom 5. As long as they find their cohesiveness as a team, I think they do have the talent to work their way out. And I think that's the same with IP. Like, I think if they kind of get back into their groove, they can work out of that bottom 5 mud that not a lot of teams can really work their way out of or have been working their way out of. And obviously, qualifying for playoffs is going to be a bit difficult coming out of 0-6 with 8 games left into the season, or not even 8 games, but it's like 7. Could be interesting to see. Have no idea if that's going to happen. There was also a whole Goon Squad arc with Cole, because I know Cole is a bit memed in the community. But, I mean, I'm sure he's still a great athlete. I mean, I've seen him play. I mean, he's definitely not bad at all. But, I mean, he's definitely memed with the amount of reactions he has, for sure. Ice Cube also got picked up by Rogue Warriors. Completely forgot about that. Saw that underneath. Iron Phoenix picked up Rusty Nails. And Lauren Always Misses also going over to Rogue Warriors. Not to play quarterback. Mostly to play wide receiver. And I don't know how much playing time Lauren's going to get in that core. But I think, like, it's enough to, like, you know, where she could get there. Evil Monkey Dude also joining Sentinels from Dragoons. Monkey Dude, a great edge rusher, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he was definitely racking up sacks like an edge rusher in scrims. So, pretty fun to see what's going to happen over there. A couple of Swarm transactions as well. But we'll see. Their roster's kind of shifting every single day, so not going too far into those. But yeah, that's basically the transaction. So, gonna see some changes in IP Blizzard. I mean, obviously, Rogue Warriors is a complete change in itself. Lauren did good in a scrim last night at wide receiver versus us. Yeah, I know Lauren's got the movement to make it work at any position. And she's definitely got I mean, you know, veterans of this game, some veterans of this game are going to naturally have the hands. I mean, people who have played since day one are definitely going to have them. I'm still trying to bring T-Pack. Oh boy. Yeah, we gotta bring T-Pack back. Yes, we need to bring T-Pack back. We gotta have, like, the very slow, like, return to December reformation of teams. That would be, like, the funniest stuff. But, yeah. So, we're going over to the slides here. Looking at some of the stuff that I've made. We're just checking in. We're basically at the halfway point in the season. You know, we're getting there. Week 4, I mean, I know there's a week 7, but it's basically the midpoint in the season. And, we're going to be checking in with everyone, starting at Celestial Division. Yeah, Celestial Division. It's Lunar Conference. I know I could get that mixed up sometimes. But yeah, so we see a bit of an interesting predicament in this division specifically. I mean, obviously we have Title absolutely popping off, and honestly, probably the best team in the league right now. Just looking at their schedule, it has been, you know, pretty difficult. I mean, they've had Hunt, Comet, Blizzard, all packed into that one schedule, but, you know, they're going to be really tested in week 5. I mean, they by far have, like, one of the hardest schedules in the league with PO, K9, Shinigami, 3 top 5 teams packed all in, Shinigami's week 6, but that's like the first game in week 6. But, you know, all of those teams packed in there. We're definitely going to see Title tested. We might see Title move around. But in terms of consistency, they've done pretty well. And, you know, they're definitely first in this league by far. And then we have an interesting predicament with UFO, GS, and Huntsman. UFO is actually in second right now at 4-2. They've had a bit of an easier schedule, so we're going to see them tested again. Not to the degree that Title is, but I mean, they got DK, King, K9 on the backhand stretch of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how this division starts to shape up, just because everyone's kind of facing harder opponents. I mean, Huntsman, whatchamacallit? Oh, well, Huntsman doesn't really have that much of a difficult schedule. We should see Huntsman move back up because, you know, 2-4, pretty tough, and they are 4th in the division and everything. And they are kind of moving down in power rankings, but they've had a really, really tough schedule, and they're still looking pretty good, you know? So we should see them overtake Goon Squad, probably Alien as well, but again, at this point in the season, it's, like, hard to tell, you know, because you never know. But based off of strength of schedule entirely, we should see Huntsman kind of retake their position. Yo, what's up, Dingus? How's it going, man? It won't let me prime. Oh, rip. It's alright. It's alright. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, Goon Squad also doing a nice bit of winning. Hold on. Let me just double check, because I don't wanna say what teams they beat. Okay, so they beat Aztecs and False Idols. Obviously had to play both against both K9 and Title. So, I mean, they've really gotten there. I don't know how their strength of schedule there is 4th. I think I probably just misread the schedules or something. December 6th. Okay. Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's at, like, a certain time. But, yeah, I mean, Goon Squad, they could possibly, like, make a run. They are technically in the playoff spot right now, but they're really going to have to work their butts off, because they still got Huntsman and Kingsman, even TD and Sentinels at the back half of this one. And, you know, they can make it. I do think they have the talent, and they have the wide receiver talent. They have what they need. I mean, I'm just not sure how they're going to fare in this division when, you know, Alien's emerging as a team to watch. I mean, especially with Chief Queef joining, I think that's probably something that's going to push them. Well, they were already like a playoff contender, but it's going to push them maybe a bit further. So we can see them like kind of competing against Huntsman, but UFO's got a tough schedule for sure. But I think Title's going to still come up on top of this division. Just looking from here, it's probably going to be really close between Huntsman, Alien, and Goon Squad won't be that far behind, so make sure to watch out for them. Going on to Dark Matter, pretty cool name there. So we got K9 in first, I mean, by far, obviously, at number 1. You know, their talent just kind of outshines everyone in the league. But then we have Sentinels coming in at second, and you know, their schedule at the beginning of everything is pretty easy. I mean, if you look at their opponents, I mean, you have you know, Aztecs, which they did end up falling to. I mean, obviously beating out False Idols Royals. They did beat out Kingsmen, and they did beat out Darkside, and those are two pretty stout teams. I mean, Kingsmen as a whole has been falling down a hole, basically, in these rankings. Now 5th in the division behind Aztecs and False Idols, technically, since they are 1-4, haven't taken another loss yet. And False Idols, I mean, not looking too bad themselves, but, I mean, against the schedule that they've had, I mean, they've fallen quite a lot, and this is kind of the only time where they're going to find momentum into the back half of the season. And Sentinels is 100% getting that, because even though they're like, they have their 5th, 4th SOS in the division, you see a lot of teams that are tier 4, tier 5, and other divisions that aren't necessarily doing the same, and they're playing against, like, bad, well, not really bad opponents, but you know what I mean, like, opponents that aren't, you know, tier 3 or tier 2 or tier 1, and they're just falling to them. And Sentinels is not doing that. I mean, Aztecs themselves is tier 3, but I mean, Sentinels is battling hard against tier 4, tier 5 and taking the wins, and also taking a win against Kingsman, which again, another big win. And you know, I mean, Sentinels, I mean, they're looking pretty good, and you'll see me praise them on the power rankings once we get to them. In terms of everyone else, because we kind of touched on False Idols, you know, False Idols, I mean, they're a bit of a wild card. Deagle's doing cool things over there, and we'll ultimately see where those cool things lead them, but they do got to pick it up a bit, that's for sure. We'll see if Nico and Ye can do that in the coming days, and also the team that he already has. Looking at Aztecs, Aztecs are cooling down a bit in terms of what they're doing. I mean, they got cooled down kind of against their will, because they did go against K9 and Shinigami to make them 2-4, and this is kind of where their schedule is the scariest. And again, I don't know why they're third going against K9 and Shinigami. I guess Kingsman must have really had it bad. But, I mean, yeah, I just, where are all the weeb teams? I mean, you'll see them in a bit. I guess, whatchamacallit, Iron Phoenix has a couple of weebs over there, but, yeah. Aztecs at 2-4 and third in the league, or not the league, the division. I mean, they're looking alright, but they're just kind of one of those teams who have fallen victim to going against K9 and Shinigami, and, you know, they're still pushing for a wild card spot. And maybe even possibly a win in this division. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they're not going to win over K9, but, I mean, if they push hard enough, they can definitely kind of hurdle over Kingsman with their strength of schedule, because Kingsman is just down bad. I mean, let's be honest, they've had hope ripped to shreds. I mean, they've been against K9, they lost against Aztecs, they did win against Blizzard, but they lost against Huntsman, Sentinels. I mean, even PO kind of beat them up a bit, and that just hurts, considering they're going against Dakunados and Title. I mean, and then Shinigami. I mean, they have a potential to go 1-8 in these coming weeks. I mean, they're already falling on track for a, you know, negative schedule, or a negative record, and it's just things are not looking good for the Kingsmen at all. I mean, we're looking at like maybe a 5-7 season to end it out, like, if you're looking at it positively. I mean, it's really hard to believe they'll go back to 500 as a whole, playing against Title and Shinigami. But, I mean, maybe they'll shock us. I mean, they did pretty good against Blizzard. I mean, Blizzard themselves have been doing pretty well. So, I mean, you know, we'll just have to see. I mean, again, any given Sunday. But Kingsman, after losing to AZ and Sentinels, I mean, they really have to show something. They really have to show something. Oh, Blizzard didn't have a line. Wait, what was Blizzard's line for the Kingsman game? I think I just, like, kind of, whatchamacallit, sight read that game? Not sight read. That sounded weird. Skimmed over it. Oh, Mark, like, Keem was a... Okay, alright. Yeah, we'll just, And Blizzard didn't have a line that game. Okay, that was... And you guys, like, kept it close. I mean, you guys were within one score that game, right? You were, like, 32-28, I think, was that game score. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I don't know. That's a bit... Oh, wow. We should mark. Huh. Interesting. That's 2 linemen. That is 2 linemen. That is correct. But, yeah. Anyway, going forward. Next one. Bam. Right over to Andromeda. Back into the Solar Conference. We got a, not necessarily clear-cut division, but I mean, Comets escaping from the hole that they were in. Obviously, going against some pretty powerful teams. Oh, this is all-time head-to-head. I was looking at all-time head-to-head and trying to figure out why there were teams that were 0-4 in the one season that we're having right now, but... yeah. So Comet, I mean, they've, this isn't even updated, but they've lost to Shinigami, and I'm pretty sure they lost to, or they, yeah. Who else did they lose against? They lost against Title. I, like, completely forgot who they lost against, but I mean, they've been pretty consistent in their other games. I mean, obviously, you know, they had some hiccups against, TD. I mean, they had some hiccups against Blizzard. They had some hiccups, like, all around, and, you know, people were kind of questioning JBL, which I think is a sin, but, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But, I mean, Comet still, you know, regardless, has the talent to win games. And, you know, obviously, my hat fell off. Going through the strength of schedule, I mean, they're going to have a really hard weeks 5 through 7. I mean, you can see that they got K9, PO, and they don't have as hard as the one that I thought, but I mean, Dark Side. This is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Oh, yeah, Andromeda for some reason has, like, really easy ending schedules. I don't know why. I think that's just kind of how it's shaped up to be, but they have, like, really easy, I mean, compared to other teams who are facing, like, 3 top 5 teams, and, like, just 5 top 10 teams. Like, it's just freaking ridiculous. But Andromeda kind of lucked out. And it's good for Comets, too, because considering they have, like, a strength of schedule that is so high, they're looking pretty good in terms of cruising through this league. But Blizzard is kind of biting at their ankles. Blizzard themselves kind of in a bit of a weird place as they, you know, had to play Title, and they will be playing Shinigami, which should be a bit of a banger, and they're playing PO, so that should be a fun one. And then they're playing PO again. Huh. I don't know if that's right, but they are playing PO again. I didn't know they were playing PO twice. That's pretty interesting. So, yeah. Oh, it is right. Okay, cool. So they are playing PO twice. Okay. So we'll see in that PO matchup how everything's going to go. But Blizzard's got a tough schedule to fight through here if they want to. I don't know why. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I feel like that's like the only one that's playing twice. But they got a difficult week 4 coming up, and then a difficult week 5. But then, you know, even though they're going against PO twice, things should lighten up for them. Just based off how they've been playing. And again, they have the talent to win some of these games, but what's going to matter is, you know, what actually happens on game day, because things, you know, they look good on paper and all this fun stuff, but then you get to the game, maybe like LUNAR's not online, or like Dome has an off day, and then it's just like it all kind of falls apart because it looks good on paper, but then when it comes into practice. But at the same time, you know, we've seen some hiccups from PO. Obviously, we haven't seen too many hiccups from Shinigami, but I mean, every team has a weakness. And Blizzard, if they want to kind of get into that top 4 spot in the playoffs, they gotta look for ways to expose, like, PO, Comet, Shinigami. It's obviously hard to expose Title versus K9, because even when you do expose them, they have enough talent to just completely destroy you anyway. which is, you know, fun, but that's just what it is. So, you know, obviously Blizzard has that in front of them, which is a pretty Herculean task, but, you know, they'll work through it. Blizzard, you know, they got some fighters over there. In terms of the rest of the league, Darkside, you know, they've been kind of cruising through. They've had some pretty tough losses, but, I mean, we'll see if they can kind of get up into a playoff contending spot. I'm not, like, 100% sure, and, like, looking at the back half of their schedule, it seems easy, but, like, DS, you have to also, like, remember, is one of the teams that are kind of sitting at the bottom. And though they are 2-4, they do have games they have to win. And then you got Dragoons, who are like kind of in a weird spot now as well, but they're getting to the easier part of their schedule, so we should see them kind of rise with Darkside. And Iron Phoenix, I mean, they're just in a interesting time because, you know, they had Shinigami obviously starting off, but then they got into some teams that were like, you know, they should be kind of easier, but like it's just, I mean, they had Shinigami, Royal, False Idols, UFO, DS, TD. I mean, teams that it's winnable to play against them, but Iron Phoenix is just bottom of the barrel right now. We'll see where they go with Duty. You know, again, they're kind of in that rebuild stage, which is kind of weird to say in the middle of the season, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, Iron Phoenix probably not going to make the playoffs. I mean, they have the talent to turn around. Again, they only have 6 games left, and making the playoffs at 6-6 is going to be really weird, especially with everyone around them who can kind of push for over 500 seasons with the strength of their schedule. Going over to our last division here, and we see the new, well, not really new, I think this is the same one, Rogue Warriors logo up there on the right-hand side. But yeah, we got the very interesting division of Quantum with both Shinigami and Polar Opposites. Polar Opposites currently at first and 6-0 after winning against Shinigami, and Shinigami at 5-1. Both teams going undefeated after that game. 5-0 other than the Shinigami versus PO game. And yeah, I mean, PO, I mean, I was looking at their schedule. They kind of lucked out, and both the top teams kind of lucked out because Dakunado's having like a really difficult weeks 3-4. I mean, they got to play Shinigami. And then they got to play Comet. They got to play Kingsman. I guess at the time I thought that was the hardest, but I mean, looking at everything else, I mean, Polar Opposites has to play K9 Blizzard. That's probably why I put them. No, I put them at 4th. Huh. That's pretty easy. That's not where I should have put them. I think I messed that up, but oh yeah, they should be, I think they should be 2nd. I don't know. I have 2 4ths. Maybe I tied them. I don't know. I have no freaking clue. Whatever. Let's keep going. I mean, PO and Shinigami, obviously we'll see them fight. It's just a battle of consistency, and PO's looked a little bit less consistent, obviously, having some pretty close games, especially the one against Dragoons, which is still fresh in my mind because, you know, I watched back through the entire thing, but I mean, there's been some inconsistencies, but obviously they have great offensive talent. They have great talent in general. I mean, I think they can very easily compete in shootouts, as well as Shinigami. I mean, with Mai and talks of being the best wide receiver in the league on Hot Takes, I mean, I think that Mai is definitely, like, in the top 5 conversation. I can't really, you know, with the amount of film that I have on Mai, I can probably argue definitely top 3, but I still think, like, probably not, like, the best in the league. Definitely popping off this season by far, but I'd have to kind of look into it more. We might discuss that next week, because I kind of wanted to watch more film before, you know, we just get into, like, oh, who's the best at each position? Who's, like, the up-and-comers? Who are we watching? Who is blah, 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 because it's, you know, hard to say that when you only have, like, this many games. But yeah. Now looking at Royals, which, Nova talking about Royals being underrated. I mean, yeah, I think that they've been overlooked for quite a bit. I think, again, they're just kind of finding their step in terms of where they are. I mean, they did end up beating... Or did they end up beating Sentinel? Am I looking at this chart correctly? I don't think I'm looking at this chart. No, they beat IP, Pride, and False Idols. So, you know, they picked on some weaker teams, but I mean, because I think all of those people are the only teams that are below them. But they have the talent. I mean, Visk is really popping off this season. Chad Burrito is just, yeah, he's popping off too. Of course, my boy's there, but, you know, I mean, I think if they keep working at it, they can certainly climb, but they got a pretty uphill slope in front of them. I mean, facing DKPO, Shinigami, and Aztecs at the back of the season, I mean, that's going to be a difficult climb. And just based off of where they are right now, you know, it's pretty difficult. But you know what? They got some hard-working boys over there. I think they'll, you know, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. Darkinado's at 2-3. They got a, you know, they have a relatively hard schedule. I thought it was harder than it was easier than I thought it was. I mean, they got IP and False Idols and Royal and TD and UFO coming up. UFO is probably going to be like kind of their statement game because, you know, you'd assume wins for like the back 3 games there, but like you never know. I mean, there are teams that are fighters in this league, and it could be interesting. But they should probably get back up to 500. Rogue Warriors probably not going to get back up to 500 because they still got like a pretty tough schedule. I mean, looking at what they immediately have to go against, I mean, I'm blind. Okay, yeah. I mean, they have to go against Comets, Dragoons, IP. They still have Shinigami and Blizzards and Sentinels as the back half of this. I mean, it's just looking a bit doomed. I don't know why I put 4th. I think I just forgot to edit these. I don't know why these are so, like, weird. But, don't really look at those because they might be lying to you. But, you know, looking at Daku and Royals climbing and Polar Opposite Shinigami, I mean, they're going nowhere but up, so... You know, we'll see what we end up getting, and I think next week I'll probably just come up with a, current playoff picture. What do I think's going to happen? All that good stuff. And we'll go into that next week. But right now, going in to the power rankings, 3, 2, 1. There they are. So we got a title on top of K9. I mean, I was going to discuss this last week, and I completely forgot my points, but I mean, I just think titles looked a bit better, and I do like their team a bit more, in terms of competing against K9. I mean, I think K9 could, like, it's kind of a 50-50 toss-up. I kind of just gave Title the nudge just because their strength of schedule is a bit, I mean, K9's had, like, a bit of a less difficult schedule looking back at the games. I mean, I'm kind of just putting them, because, you know, they've had Kingsman, Huntsman, False Idols, Goon Squad, Aztecs, TD, and then Titles had, like, Titles had Huntsman, UFO, Comet, and Blizzard, and Aztecs GS. I mean, I'd say that Title has like a slightly harder schedule, and you know, they've made some games blowouts, and all of their wide receivers have been doing well. I mean, but that's the same thing for K9. You know, they're obviously top 2 teams, and there's a bit of a drop off until we get to Shinigami, who have been playing extraordinarily well. Again, Mai's emerging as a amazing wide receiver, and you know, they are, I think, are above Polar Opposites, despite the fact that Polar Opposites did beat them. But I feel like this is a different Shinigami now in Week 4. You know, we can't just put a team above another team because they beat said team. That's just kind of what it is. And I think Shinigami, with their lineup, with that line, and their wide receiver core, they're just looking better than PO all around. And I can't wait to see them square off again. Hopefully we will see it again, because it will be an epic revenge match. And it's kind of sad that it happened Week 1, but it was a banger of a preseason opener. Or not preseason opener, Week 1 opener. I don't know why I said preseason. Then we get to Comets, who I think is just, I don't know, they're sitting pretty at that 5th spot, and there is a bit of a drop off. But Blizzard, I mean, they're looking to contest that for sure. I think when are they playing them? Oh, wait, they already played them. They played them Week 1, too. All the fun matchups already happened. Completely forgot about that. But, I mean, I think if they end up playing them in the playoffs, I think that will be a freaking amazing match to watch. But right now, we only have matches against other teams to kind of work off of. And, honestly, I think Blizzard, if they keep just pushing forward with what they've been doing, I mean, they've been winning matches. I mean, even though they are 3-3, they've had a uphill climb. Overall, we should see them probably be the top contenders for breaking through to the Power 5, Top 5, whatever you want to call it. Comet gotta be a bit more consistent up there. if they want to push to beat PO, but I'm pretty sure they have a pretty difficult schedule coming up. Yeah, they got K9 coming up. I mean, they have a pretty easy week 4, but in terms of looking to K9 PO week 5, that'll be where they're kind of tested, and that's kind of their opportunity to push for that number 4 spot, maybe even the number 3 if they show it enough. But I think Shinigami is just a level above them right now. In terms of 7 through like 11, I wasn't really sure where to put these teams. I did want to put Huntsman up there because they've been looking pretty good. I mean, obviously at 2 and 4, you know, it's hard to defend it, but I mean, they've been playing against some tough teams. I mean, they had to play Title, K9, PO, Kingsman, which they beat, and then Comets as well. And that just sucks. And they'll have a bye week this week until they play Sentinel. So, you know, it's been kind of interesting for them. I still think all their players have played well, and they have the chemistry to kind of just keep pushing forward. Are they going to push maybe into the top 5? Not really sure. Obviously, they've been contested by those teams, and they've kind of, you know, been taken aback. And they do have a bit of an easier last schedule, so it's going to be really hard for them to push for that spot. But I think as long as they play consistently, they'll sit in top 10, no problem. UFO, I mean, with the acquisition of Chief Queef and just with how they've been playing and how Luke has shown, I mean, I know he threw like 721 against IP, and like, I know, like, oh, whoa, it's against IP, but like, it's hard to throw for 721 yards in a 16-minute game of Gridiron. It's a bit crazy. I mean, I know they scored 90 points, blah, 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 but it's like, you know, or like a couple of good 50s. But I mean, it's still a lot, and it does give, you know, a nod to the talent of Luke, and I think if they really lock in, they can definitely, you know, make a push for 7-6, maybe even 5. But we'll have to see some big performances against their upcoming matches in Kingsman, DK, Aztec, Sentinels, you know, all those matches. And of course, they're facing K9 as well. Not really expecting too much from them, but they are looking like a good team right now, looking for staying in that top 8 spot. In terms of Doctrinados, they've always been a question mark for me. I don't know what exactly is happening with them, because they have the talent and, you know, all that, but they, you know, their schedule's just been weird. You know, they played against Shinigami, Blizzard, DS, Pride, and PO. I mean, they've obviously dropped some of those games, and they've held their own still in some of those games, and we'll see them again against Kingsman and Comets this week, so they're probably going to drop. But, I mean, I still think that they can contest some of these teams, and, you know, I think that they can beat the teams below them. So, I mean, they're kind of in this weird spot for me right now. I still need to watch more DK stuff, but yeah. Sentinels, and as Novaterra just said, I mean, obviously, Novaterra probably knows more about Sentinels than I do. But, you know, I think they definitely deserve this top 10 spot because, again, you know, they've had an easier, like you can say they've had an easier schedule, but again, they've been pretty consistent in terms of beating these teams, and that's a consistency that not a lot of teams below them have shown. A lot of teams below them has even had easier schedules than, you know, Sentinels, and it doesn't even matter. I mean, Sentinels just been more consistent, and they have a big week coming up against the number 7 team and the number 8 team. This is going to be a pivotal week for Sentinels, and I mean, they still have a, they still have a couple of more difficult opponents. They have to play K9 Title Blizzard still after this week, and that's going to be interesting to see because Sentinels, they got an uphill climb against them. But I mean, because they kind of already they didn't get like kind of placed against they also have Title. Completely forgot to mention that. I was about to say, they didn't get match against Title, but I mean, they don't have those games against Shinigami and PO. And, like, you know, they have the matches that they need to show that they are a competitor and that they can kind of climb to this number 7, number 6, maybe even number 5 spot if they put in the work. But, I mean, X-Tails has been popping off for them. Miski's been doing nice. I mean, just the team as a whole has just been going crazy. I know X-Tails is up there in sacks. I think he's number 5 in sacks in the league. He's been having a wonderful season. and he deserves nothing but praise coming up from, I think it was like, definitely Reapers was his first team. I'm pretty sure he was on Extinction. I'm not sure if he was on Extinction or not, but I mean, he's been popping off, and overall, I'm rooting for Sentinels. Expect nothing but good things coming from them. And then we get into our number 11, and again, it's the Misfits of the Kingsmen. Kind of already talked about them, but I mean, they've gone against some really good teams, but then they've fallen to Aztecs and Sentinels, who are again good, but they're not like top 5, obviously, at least not yet. And I did place them above Aztecs because, again, Aztecs are just in a weird spot for me right now. I think, like, 9, 11, and 12 are probably my most questionable placements. I think 9 and 12 are more questionable than Kingsmen at 11. Yo, what's up, puppy? But, I mean, Kingsmen, they just haven't really shown me that, like, they deserve to be in the top 10. I mean, they will in the coming weeks, obviously. I think they will. Because, Cam's just too good. The roster's just too good not to. I mean, unless, it just doesn't happen. But, with Title and Shinigami still having to play, I mean, they may not even make it to playoffs at this point. And they aren't seeded to be in playoffs. So, not everything's a given, ladies and gentlemen. Not everything's a given. Aztecs, again, we just kind of discussed. Weird, oh, geez, everyone's spamming bat. Wow, you guys really spammed bat chest wrong. Jeez, Louise. Thing is, you gotta give them, like, a, whatchamacallit. You have to give them an advice on how to speak in Twitch chat. I told them how they don't listen. Kingsman definitely has some chemistry issues, I think. Yeah, I forgot to touch on Novater. Thank you for Novater popping off in my chat. Oh my goodness. But they probably have some chemistry issues, because if you look at it from that angle, because a lot of teams above them have a good amount of talent. But it's not a lot of talent like Kingsmen have, because they have players who have popped off multiple times in the chat, and it's just been like multiple times in the past, and it's been like, you guys stop spamming the chat. I literally can't, I can't think. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to having that much talent, it's obviously, it's going to be a chemistry issue. And, they have the whole thing with Deion Sandals, but when a team has that, it hurts them. And I know I don't really want to talk about it, but chemistry still hurts a team if you don't have it. And it's clearly showing with Kingsmen. Team that's not throwing with is TD. I mean, TD, they've been through some tough matches as well. Have to play K9 and all of that stuff.
There's
and
no way. This guy's like actually cheating.
For the 7 months.
He's actually cheating. How the hell did he do that?
Yes, sir.
God, I love cat girls.
Okay, thank you, Dingus. But TD's got a lot to prove. TD's got a bit of an easier schedule coming up, and I think if they play well enough, I mean, they need like 6 or 7 wins to make the push to playoffs, but they can definitely do it with their schedule and with their drive. They can definitely do. What is that? Stop, Michael. Knock it off. I don't want to see that again. Like, okay. But Royals, they again, we kind of talked on them, but we touched on them pretty hard before. I think they are able to beat GS, and then we have like GS, DS, False Idols, Rogue Warriors, IP. We've got, oh my god, dude, stop spamming owls in my chat. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think all the teams will. I mean, GS is just looking kind of weird right now. DS, I mean, again, looking kind of weird right now. Can't really analyze them. False Idols, I mean, they're doing some weird stuff. Deagle's kind of putting stuff into the offense, and I think they will be able to pop off. False Idols, they can kind of climb in the coming weeks, but, it's a bit, yeah. You don't really know with offensive schemes like that. Jeez, I can't speak. Stop spamming owl, dude. Oh my god, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. IP. They've got a lot to prove, especially after cutting my boy Clifton Harler. Not saying that there's any bias there, but hey, IP. Let's maybe cool it a bit. No, I'm joking, but yeah, IP. I mean, they have a potential to win the games, but they haven't been winning the games, so I can't justify putting them up in the power rankings. So yeah. This is kind of where the power rankings are at. And going really quickly, finishing up here because need to be finished by round 8. So, the AidanTheFunny predictions for week 4 of this week. Title versus false idols, that should easily be titled, not a ton of discussion there. UFO versus Sentinels, I gotta give it to Sentinels. I mean, I know UFO's above them, but okay, there goes the hat. I think I need to kind of give an upset a week, and I think Sentinels are probably most likely to make this happen. And, I mean, again, this is going to be a, proving... Okay, look, Visk, okay, I know you see that. I'm biased, Visk. I have to do it, okay? Oh, okay, never mind. He was just talking about the hats. I thought he was talking about me putting, TD 30-28 above Royals. I mean, it's going to be a close game, in my opinion. I think they are pretty evenly matched. But, I like TD, so we're giving it to them. GS versus DS, I think that is going to be another close game. Goon Squad's still going to win that one out. If it's not a close game, then maybe Dark Side, to be put down a bit in the power rankings. You never know, though. K9 versus PO, I think, every single game that K9 plays is K9 favored, but PO, probably least likely top 5 team to kind of give them a run for their money. Oh, Jizook. Hello, Jizook. How are you doing? Then we got Kingsman versus DK. I don't know why I said DK was going to be... Oh, yeah, because DK's above them. Yeah, I mean, Kingsman looking very inconsistent. I mean, this is going to be a game where they got to prove things. Yeah, I mean, Kingsman just has a lot to prove in general, and obviously that chemistry stuff, I mean, it's just, Soup Loops had us beating DS by 3. That's a bit sinful. I think that's a little bit... I don't even remember what I put you guys at. Hold on, I'll look at it right now. Hold on. Oh, wait, no, I saved over it. No, never mind. I guess we'll just never know. But yeah, I'm sure I had... I never really do 3-point deficits on teams like that. I mean, obviously Kingsman versus DK, that could be a 3-point deficit and all that stuff. But, just coming in to save the day from his own, hat off. But, yeah, AZ versus IP, I think Aztecs will still, with the offense that they have, still do a lot there. SG versus Blizzard, I think that, SG probably going to win that one out. Blizzard can give them a run for their money, but ultimately I think Shinigami has been really consistent, and I think they will, continue to do well. Comet versus Rogue Warriors, again, I have no idea what's going to happen with Rogue Warriors because I haven't really seen them, but... I think Comet should beat that no problem. I don't think it's going to be that much of a blowout. Maybe a bit of an oversight in that one. And we already talked about Royal versus TD. Alright, Dingus. Good luck in your league game. See you, man. Huntsman getting the bye this portion of the week and going over to the right side. We got Title versus Kingsman. Title should win that no problem. Again, it's going to be another game where Kingsman, has to do their thing. But might not even happen. Huntsman versus Sentinels. Sentinels, again, this is kind of a proving game for them. If they can end up beating Huntsman, it will be absolutely huge for them. But I mean, Huntsman still has shown more spark than they kind of have. It's kind of interesting, but we'll see. UFO versus Aztecs, should be a UFO favored game. They've been playing pretty nicely, and again, with the addition of Chief Queeth, it's been great overall. Then you have GS versus False Idols. That's going to be kind of an interesting game. Goon Squad, they've shown pretty well what they can do, and False Idols, they've shown some trickery, but I still think that Goon Squad ultimately has the upper hand. K9, we probably will beat out Shinigami. That will definitely be the banger of the week. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen in that game, but K9 I still think is favored nonetheless. Aztecs versus IP, I think that's going to be another Aztecs win. PO versus Blizzard, that's going to be another close game. Blizzard's, with how PO's been playing, is really going to give them a run for their money. I did give it over to PO, but, any given Sunday could be something big that happens. And Comet versus Dakunados, I gave it to Comet. It could be a pretty close game, though, with how Dakunados has been playing. And TD versus Rogue Warriors, I think that is definitely still TD favored, even though we haven't really seen TD big one in a while. We should see it eventually. And we got IP on a bye. And that's pretty much wrapping it up. So, thank you all for coming out. Oh, that's not the right thing. Okay, there we go. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to follow. Make sure to follow my Twitter as well. And subscribe to my YouTube, just put out new content there. And, yeah, I should be casting on Wednesday, and then I should be casting both of the TD games that are happening on Sunday at 9 and 10. That'll probably be all the games I'm casting this week. Can't really do anything tomorrow because I gotta study, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I have other stuff planned. And then next week, I'm not really sure how much time I'm gonna have because that's final weeks for me. And I also have my birthday on Thursday, on the 16th. So, you know, big boy, 19. Gonna be fun to celebrate that in whatever capacity that I can here at TCNJ. But, yeah, I appreciate very greatly everyone coming out. Make sure to come out next week. I'm pretty sure we'll have, I mean, we might not have one because, again, that's going to be finals week for me. But I should have enough time on Monday at 7. I mean, it probably won't be in depth, like as much as this week. Like 50 minutes, you know, this is kind of a bit of a stretch of an episode, but, you know, we'll see what happens. But I appreciate all you coming out. We'll make the announcement at some point. If we'll have something on Monday, make sure to come out to the stream Wednesday, Sunday. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys. Bye.